everybody. Welcome to the best and worst of one of our favorite talents. This is a series we do every week, is a shoot off of our Hidden Gems podcast. And so if you like what we're doing here in this shorter episode, please check out our Hidden Gems episode. This week we talked about IMDb TV, and it was really fun. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey Rachel, so great to be back with you again. And today we're going to be talking about Denzel Washington. And he's one of the few actors where you can just say his first name and people immediately know who you're talking about. Just walk up to a random stranger and be like, Denzel, and be like, hey, I love him. And literally everyone knows who he is. And trying to pick a worst for Denzel has been the hardest out of all of these for me because he's so consistently good. Like, even if the rest of the movie is not great, he's usually the best part, in movies like The Equalizer 2 or, Two Guns or something like that. For me personally, he's a very inspiring individual. If you all, after this, of course, after you're all done watching this, go check out his speech he did at the University of Pennsylvania for that commencement ceremony. It's one of the best speeches I've ever heard, but side note.
Yeah, and he is an Oscar-winning actor. He's known for movies like Training Day and Philadelphia, and he's also done lighter stuff like Much Ado About Nothing and The Preacher's Wife. I love him in those films. So he's in Remember the Titans, of course, is a favorite. My favorite from Denzel Washington, like I said, I went through all of those that I like, but I think I've got to give it to Malcolm X as my favorite. It's maybe not the one I rewatched the most of his performances, but I still think it's probably his best that he's ever done. And I think it's the best movie Spike Lee's ever made. I know a lot of people would say Do the Right Thing, but this is just my opinion, is Malcolm X. I think Malcolm X is such an incredible, interesting human being. His autobiography is one of the most interesting books I've literally ever read. Is fascinating. You think you know him, but you don't really know him until you read just the swings that he took in his life, going from one kind of extreme to another and then back and forth, and it's just a fascinating human. And I think Denzel was able to capture that in his performance, and obviously the charisma of his of the man, the way I was able to become a leader of so many people.
I haven't seen this movie, but I know who Malcolm X is. I've read his book as well, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. It's a fantastic book.
So good.
And I actually was watching a video about him the other day, and just, yeah, like you were saying about how he went from one side to the other, and at the same time he seemed like he was a very well spoken, and he just seemed like a very fascinating human being, because
Yeah.
he went from just a hardened criminal to like one of the most forward thinking men in America at that time. And controversial as his views might have been, in some of the speeches just about politics in general ring true even in 2021. He truly was ahead of his time.
So what's your best?
So my favorite Denzel Washington movie, and this is probably going to be a controversial choice because I haven't really seen a lot of Denzel's bigger movies. I will get around to them, but my favorite of his is Flight from 2012. This was directed by Robert Zemeckis. It tells this, and it is based on a true story. It's very liberal in its use of true story, but then again, it is what it is. The movie tells the story of a pilot named Whip Whitaker, who is he drinks a lot, and to the point where it's like he drinks, he's on drugs. It's not a good look for him. But then one day on one of his flights, one of his engines goes out and he has to make an emergency landing. And despite having 3 vodka orange juices, he somehow not only manages to land the plane, but save about 99% of the passengers on board. It truly is a miracle. And the movie chronicles his journey from brief stardom to absolute vitriol. And I thought the movie was just very well realized. This is Robert Zemeckis' very best film, like, in a very long time, because the 2010s were a very uneven decade for him, and this was his apex. And of course, Denzel is excellent in the movie. Don Cheadle's really good. John Goodman is good in there as well. And what makes this my favorite is that I have kind of a personal connection with not this particular character, but just in general with because just tearing down the veil a bit, my grandfather was a pilot for Eastern Airlines and was an alcoholic for many years. Nothing bad ever happened, thank God, but just I when I saw Whip Whitaker on the screen, I just had many flashbacks to what my grandfather must have went through, and nothing to the extremist flight, but I just made the connection from there. And so the personal connection makes this my favorite of Denzel's, and it's probably not Denzel's best work, but out of the movies that I have seen of him, this is my
Mhm.
favorite.
I think he was nominated for an Oscar for it. I'm pretty sure. So I haven't seen that one, but I've heard it was interesting. So let's talk about our worst. So I went back and forth. I haven't seen a lot of his bad movies, so I was kind of debating, and I actually am going to go with his most recent one, which is why we picked him. It's called The Little Things, and this isn't some people are saying this is just an awful movie. I don't think it's awful. I think it's watchable as a police procedural. And you have him playing this sort of small town sheriff, and you have him looking at these very grisly murders and the serial killer. And it's definitely trying to play off of movies like Seven and Silence of the Lambs and things like that. It's not really my jam, that kind of film, but and it's the pacing is definitely off, and I think Jared Leto isn't great in it as this kind of over the top serial killer, if that can be a thing. It is, I don't know. It just feels like it's borrowing from a lot of other films, and the pacing could be better.
I was actually excited for this because I saw the trailer several times and was like, wow, that looks really good. Well, my excitement has been dampened slightly, but I'm still going to keep an open mind. I'm still going
Yeah.
to see it, and I'll probably like it. I'm normally the type who's like, it was actually pretty good. So who knows?
So what's your least favorite?
So my least favorite of Denzel, and again, this was difficult because normally in a bad Denzel movie, he's at least trying. So it's like it's kind of hard. But my least favorite of his is the remake of The Taking of Pelham 123. And several episodes ago, I recommended the original Taking of Pelham 123. I think it's a very underrated heist movie, and just the remake just took all of the subtlety and nuance of that movie and just threw it completely away for a John Travolta performance that clearly showed that either he was trying too much or not trying at all. I go back and forth on it, but it's cringeworthy levels of modern to the point where it's like, oh boy. And Denzel is the best part of the movie. Like when you need someone to be a cool hand, to be like, all right, don't hurt anyone, let's just try and work this out, you call Denzel. But in the original, you have somebody like you have Robert Shaw, who is an amazing actor, going up against Walter Matthau, who is one of the funniest men of all time. You're already at a bit of a disadvantage. And again, I don't think Taking a Pelham 123, the remake, is horrible, but at the same time, it's like it's just it's just depressingly average, and just it's like originals here, remake is like way down there.
Yeah. Yeah, that I feel like that was one of those movies just like came and went, and everybody kind of forgot about it. It was just like it made no like impression. So let us know what you think of Denzel and what are your favorites and least favorites from his career. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called Ryan Cam. This week, I'm going to be releasing AFI project videos for Duck Soup, the Marx Brothers movie, and Sullivan's Travels. This coming Sunday, I'll be reviewing Grave of the Fireflies and my continuing series of reviewing every Studio Ghibli movie. And then the next Sunday for Valentine's Day, I'm going to be reviewing all of the Twilight movies. Your sympathies are greatly appreciated.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Y'all should subscribe. And
Watch me suffer. Don't make me suffer for nothing.
and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Make sure you check out our Hidden Gems episode from this week. And then also, I'm going to be covering Sundance all over the place. So make sure you're taking a look at that. And then make sure you're following Hallmarkies podcast. We have our award show this week, and we even got Lacey Chabert to accept an award. So you're going to want to check that out. It's pretty amazing. And lots of fun stuff over there. So thanks so much. Please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Please share this video. We really want to get this series going, and we really appreciate that. We have our Patreon group and merch store, lots of good stuff. So thanks so much, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.